Hello, artists! We are going to be making our paper pollination puppetry today. So I'm going to show you this finished project. So you've got your little bee, and it can fly to pollinate the two different plants. It'll fly between them. We've got ours going on an apple tree. And first, you'll want to make sure you've got all your supplies. So you should have your pollinator and your plants already drawn. There's a link in the description if you want to draw along with me, or you can draw yourself a butterfly, some flowers, whatever your pollinator and your plants are going to be, get those ready. I've got them drawn and colored and ready to go. You'll also want your, if you're one of my distance learning kids, you should have these supplies already. A piece of cardboard with 2 holes in it and some string. And then you'll want to get from your own house some scissors, glue. I'm using bottle glue, but glue stick will work. Bottle glue is a little stronger, so it'll work a little better. And I'm also going to be using tape. Now this is pretty intense packing tape. If you have that, this is best because it'll make it nice and smooth. But any type of tape will work as long as it's clear. That's important, clear tape. If you are not one of my distance learning kiddos and you don't have these 2 things, you can make them and get them really easily. What you'll need is a cardboard box, like a cereal box, or something else that's nice and thin. And you're going to cut a piece from it that is the same length. Oh, one more thing, you'll need another piece of paper. Blue paper is best. Blue paper is best. Mine is over here. Ta-da! But white paper works as well. This is going to be your sky. Anyway, you want to cut your cardboard so that it is as long as your paper. It doesn't need to be very big. It can be a nice thin piece, about as wide as a bookmark. And then you'll want to prepare that one by, if you've got a hole puncher, that's easiest. Just push it in and click once on each side. But a lot of us don't have hole punchers at home. So for those of us who don't, you just take your cardboard, take some scissors, and you're going to cut about as long as your pinky finger up, and make a very thin V. Very thin little V, okay? And you're going to do that on both sides. This is going to work because the string that's going to be on the inside will be pulling it in, not out, and so it shouldn't slide. So this will work, or this. Oh, let me show you the cardboard side. That looks better. Then for your string, what you'll want to do is get any old string, yarn. Suppose you could even use floss if you don't have yarn or string at your house. And you'll want to measure it like this. Take your cardboard and measure the length in between the string 3 times. Once, grab your finger and move it, slide it. Twice, grab your finger, move it, slide it. 3 times, and then cut right there, so that you have a piece of string that's as long as 3 of the inside of your cardboards. So, now you should have all your supplies. Let's go over them one more time. Colored bee and flowers, plain blue paper or plain white paper if you don't have blue, a piece of cardboard with a hole or 2-letter V's, string, that's the correct size, glue, scissors, and some tape. Okay, we're ready to go. The first thing you're going to do is cut out your flowers. We're not cutting out the bee yet unless you want to, but I just don't want you to lose that bee. So if you're very confident that you're not going to lose it, go ahead and cut the bee out. As far as cutting around the flowers, you can cut really close, or you can cut more just around them. Since we're going to be moving, it does look best to cut nice and neat around, but since we're going to be moving and the puppet's going to go up and down, I think it's safest for the project if you just kind of cut around this time. Plus, it's way faster. So, go ahead and cut both of your flowers out. We will need the bee, but I'm going to leave it for later because I don't want to lose it. Now I've got my flowers, and now I am going to glue my flowers down where I want them. Now this part's important. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to glue the cardboard because I want to make sure I put them in the right place. So I want the cardboard is going to represent where your bee moves back and forth. I'll show you that on my finished project. Here's my bee, here's my flowers. And if I hold it up, you can see how the bee and the flowers are right exactly where my cardboard is. Oh, there we go. You can see in the light. So that's where you need to put your cardboard as well. Wherever you want your bees and flowers to line up. So I'm going to try and find that sweet spot again. There we go. I like that right in the middle. So I'm going to glue it right there. I'll tilt my camera so you can watch me glue. And I'm going to lift it up a little bit. Oh, let's lift it the other way so you can watch. Lift it up and drizzle my glue. Normally, when we use bottle glue, we want to follow the rules. A dot is a lot. But since we're gluing cardboard, I'm doing a little bit more than a dot, as you might be able to see. And then pop it back down where I want it. Push. Hold it there for a good 10 seconds or so. And then when it's all the way dry, friends at home, please pause the video so that it can be all the way dry before you flip it. You're ready to flip. And now we're ready to glue those flowers down. The flowers need to go on top of the cardboard. You can kind of see where it is. And that's good because we need the flowers on top of the cardboard. So now I can just do my dots, if my glue will cooperate. Technical difficulties. Let's pause while we get that glue to work just right. So again, my dots now are going to be perfectly fine. So I just put in a couple of dots and I'm putting it on top of where the cardboard was. Notice how I'm lining up the edge of my white flowers with my blue paper. That's important. Do that for yourself as well. And then let's do that on the other side as well. Dot my flowers and glue them down on top of the cardboard. Super duper important that it's on top of the cardboard. Okay, so I've glued it down. It's technically done, but I really don't want my bee to mess up my puppet. So this is an optional step. I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to cut a piece. This is a little bigger than those of you who are using Scotch tape will have, but you can do the same thing. In fact, I'm going to cut this so that it's the size of Scotch tape so that it matches what you're probably doing at home. There. Now it's about the size that you'll have at home, and I want you to put it on the edge. Do you see how I've got it on the inside edge of my flowers? The reason is because this is going to form a nice smooth ramp for our bee to go up, because otherwise the bee will hit the flower and flip it. We want the bee to slide up the ramp, up and down the ramp. Again, I'm doing it on this side, so I've got one ramp on each side, and now my bee will be able to smoothly slide up and down the flowers. Okay, now I need to prepare for my string. So I'm going to flip this over, and I've got my holes, and I've got, oh, I forgot to tell you, a pencil. Grab a pencil too, because you're going to poke a hole. Now, we don't want to break the project, so do you see how my fingers are underneath it? I'm putting my fingers open, so the gap in between my fingers is where my hole is. I don't want to poke myself, but I also don't want to break my project. So this is going to keep it a little bit secure, holding it tight, poking it all the way through, wiggling my pencil so that it's a nice sized hole. Show you what it looks like on the other side. That's where our string is going to go. And if you really want to be fancy, you can trim that up with some scissors so that it looks nice. I probably won't, but I am going to come over here onto the other side and now poke it this way so that it looks a little better on the front. Yeah, that looks nicer. And let's do the same over here. I'm going to flip it around so it's easier for you to see since I'm right-handed. Poke, twist, twist, flip it over, and then do the same thing so that I'm going to push it closed and poke it so that it looks nice. Oh, that looks so nice. So, show you how it looks so far. Looking good. We're ready for our string. Now, for the string, what you're going to do is put the string inside the hole so that it's going into the flower. Ooh, this will be easier when it's on your table and not floating in the air. Into the hole, coming out the other side. See that? See how it's long side on the flowers, short side on the back? Then you take the other side and you do the same thing. String, inside the hole. There we go. Pull it out. So make sure it's doing this nicely. So you should have string that's hanging on the front with two little danglies on the back. Now we want it nice and tight. Okay? And you don't want the paper to bend. That's part of why we have the cardboard here to keep it nice and secure. But don't push it beyond its limits. Bring it back down, and we're going to tie it in a knot. Again, we don't want to bend the paper. If I tie, ooh, got out of my hands. If I tie it too tight, it'll bend. See that? I don't want it to do that. I want it to stay flat. So I'm going to tie it. And now I need to double knot. If you can double knot, this is the time to do it. If you need somebody's help to double knot, go ahead and get their help. What I like to do is I like to double knot by using another finger, like I'm using my middle finger, and to hold it down. And then, ooh, actually I think it'll be better with my pinky. Hold it down with my pinky, and then use my other fingers to tie and double knot. Again, it might be easiest for you to get a helper. Whoa, I could use a helper today. All right, so I've got my double knot. Check this out. It's like a little instrument. Now you want the knot to be pulled all the way to one side. Okay, so that the strings hanging down are all on one side underneath one flower. Okay, I'm going to cut out my bee, and just like my flowers, I'm going to cut kind of around the bee. Should be showing you. Okay. And we're almost done. We are not going to glue the bee. We are going to tape it. This is why tape is important, even if it's not big giant tape like mine. I'm going to get my piece, about the same size as yours would be, and watch this. I'm going to put the tape sticky side up underneath the string, and I want it all the way on the opposite side of the loopies. So it's right here on the opposite side of my loopies. I'm going to put my bee on top. Now, when I pull my string, the bee will fly. And that's it. I'll show you again. Our time's about up anyway. and you should have your finished pollinating